Review of Chapter 7 before your exam on Wednesday, Thursday and Friday. Lucky you guys. Hopefully you had some fun with your sport today or whatever it was you were doing. Go the Mighty Hawks. They had a good win. And hopefully your team did too, especially those Lions. Good job. All right, let's start with parabolas. Now, it reckons it, if I double click it zooms in, but I don't think that worked, did it? But what about if I do it that way? We'll find out. Maybe you've zoomed in now, maybe you haven't. Who knows? What we're going to start, though, is up in that area there. Sketching just a regular parabola, x squared plus bx plus c. It could be ax squared plus bx plus c. It doesn't really matter. What are the things that we need to remember for parabolas? Now, I took a bit of skin off my thumb today with the grater, so quite a large bit of skin, actually. So my writing might be a little bit hard to read, particularly as I haven't used this tablet in a while, but we'll get around it. I'm sure you'll get something out of it anyway. So let's find... Oh, that's a little bit over to the side. Here I am. That's better. Now I can see what I'm doing. Y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. So what are the key features we've got to label? Got to label the intercepts, got to label the turning point. You're done. Remember, what are the different things that we can tell? If a is greater than 0, so we've got a positive value of x squared, it's a happy face because it's positive. If a is less than 0, what do we have? We have a sad face because you're feeling down, you're feeling negative. We remember those things pretty easily. The turning point. You should have this written down on your summary sheet. The x-coordinate, the turning point, negative b over 2a. The y-coordinate, the turning point. You might just want to find the x-coordinate and then substitute that value into your equation for x. Alternatively, you can remember 4ac minus b squared over 4a, and that will also give you the y-coordinate of the turning point. What are the other things we need to find? X and y-intercept. To find the x-intercept, what do? I can hear you answering it already. Let y equal 0 and solve. How do we solve? Factorize and use the Null Factor Law, the quadratic formula. Either of those are going to work. You can even use your graphics calculator if you've got that, and that'll be fine. What about the y-intercept? Well, the y-intercept's pretty easy. We let x equal 0 and solve. That's what we do. But in this case, for a parabola, whenever we let x equal 0, this first term 0, that second term 0, so y is just the value of c. What's the last thing they can ask you about? What is the axis of symmetry? Well, the equation of the axis of symmetry, because it is indeed an equation. Now, there I am. Axis of symmetry. Is where x equals whatever the x-coordinate of the turning point is. That gives me a vertical line, that's almost vertical, straight through the turning point. And x equals the x-coordinate of the turning point would be your axis of symmetry. It's pretty straightforward. I'm going to pause and find a question, an example, and we'll go through that and make sure that we can do that. That wasn't the pause. Okay, so I've gone and found question 3 out of the short answer part of the chapter review. It's as good a place as any to find something, so let's see how we go with these ones. Now, they're pretty straightforward, so sketch the quadratics below by first finding the y-intercept, the x-intercepts using factorization, so I'll remind us of that, and the turning point. So for A, this is not going to be terribly hard at all. The y-intercept equals negative 4, it's the value at the end. The x-intercepts, I have to let y equal 0 and solve, correct? So we start by saying let y equal 0. Therefore, x squared take 4 must equal 0. You guessed it, favourite rule in maths, difference of two squares. That becomes x plus 2, x minus 2 equals 0. Therefore, the x-intercepts are negative 2 and 2. So there we go, we've got the x-intercepts. The turning point. Well, once I've got the turning point like that, once I've got the intercepts, the turning point you can find not only by doing negative b on 2a, but also just by finding the midpoint of those two intercepts. Halfway between negative 2 and 2 is 0. So the x-coordinate is going to be 0, which means the y-coordinate, the turning point, is going to be negative 4. And we're done. If I had to sketch that really quickly, assuming that I wasn't sketching on an angle like I somehow seem to have managed there, might just be the way I'm holding the stylus, or just the fact that my screen's a little bit off-center. Regardless, you get the idea there. When we sketch, what do we have to do? Make sure we label our axes and the equation. Don't give away marks for stuff that's easy to do, that's not maths. Teachers will take away marks if you don't do those things. And why would you give them up? Because they're so easy. That's it. That's how easy it is to sketch. Let's try the tricky one over here. Let's try C. And let's see how we go. So the y-intercept is going to be the number at the end again, so that's negative 8. The x-intercept, I'm going to factorize and solve. So I let y equal 0. Therefore, 0 equals x squared minus 2x minus 8. I need two numbers that multiply to equal negative 8. The number at the end, add to equal negative 2. We've been doing these for a while now, so hopefully you're good at this. X take 4, and x plus 2 would work. Negative 4 times 2 is negative 8. Negative 4 plus 2 is negative 2. So we've got the right ones. Null factor law. If I've got two things being multiplied that equal 0, one of them has to equal 0. X take 4 equals 0, which gives me x equals 4. Or x plus 2 equals 0, which will give me x equals negative 2. I've got my two x-intercepts. If we go to sketch this, I know it's a smiley face one because the number in front of x squared is positive. I've got an intercept over here at 4, another one at negative 2. My y-intercept, we found way at the start, was negative 8, so the scale is going to be a little different here, but there we go. Mark that in as negative 8. Label my axes, put arrows on the axes because they keep going forever. We're just about there. We want to label this turning point though. Remember the x-coordinate of the turning point is in the middle of negative 2 and 4, so add them together, divide by 2. I'm going to get 1. How do I find the y-coordinate of the turning point? What do I get when I substitute 1 into the equation? I get 1 squared minus 2 times 1 minus 8. 1 minus 10 is negative 9. So that turning point is going to be 1, negative 9. And you're done. That's all there is to those ones. Now, in the next video, I'm going to move on to completing the square so we can get parabolas in their turning point form. And this is going to be really important when we go on to the other equations. So make sure you stick around for that one. See you in the next video. Cheers.